What's going on, everyone? Jeremy, the Quartering. By the way, follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/thequartering if you haven't already. It's not often that I venture out into new YouTubers. I don't like change very much, and I've kind of been watching the same YouTubers for a very long time. Heck, I've been watching Angry Video Game Nerd for 5 years, maybe longer. Other retro folks too, like Pat the NES Punk, and others. Mostly these two gentlemen. Pat less so lately. So I was surprised when somebody sent me a video from Pat talking about gamers. Really, the Diablo mobile reaction, but it wasn't necessarily the take on the game that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It was the way he spoke about gamers. And this is something that seems to happen to a lot of video game industry people after they've been out there for a long time. I mean, you could say the same thing about, Angry Joe. You could say the same thing about Jim Sterling. And now you can say the same thing about Pat and Ian from Pat the NES Punk. It seems like they've lost their way. They've forgotten what it's like to be a gamer. They now just simply report on gaming. And there's a clear disconnect there. And in this case, other than kind of just roasting some egghead in a Polygon or Kotaku article, I felt like I wanted to take a little bit of a different approach for Pat, because there's no questioning the guy's a gamer and has been for a very long time. So we can remove that whole you're an SJW pretending to be a gamer to write about SJW stuff. It's just not the case with Pat. He's earned the right to a kinder response, I believe. So I'm going to try to be courteous and give him the benefit of the doubt here and maybe share some words of wisdom. Not that he has to listen to me, but wisdom that I think would go well to guys like Angry Joe, Jim Sterling, and Pat the NES Punk, to remind them of what it's like to be a gamer. The main narrative here is calling fans babies when they react emotionally to disappointment. And it's extraordinarily frustrating for me that terminology continues to be used by SJWs who write about gamers, but now gamers themselves who have forgotten what it's like. People are force-fed hype for years about games. The games industry is a hype machine. Their stocks make money for years building up hype for games like Kingdom Hearts or, the new Diablo or Red Dead Redemption. And we're just supposed to be hyped up on a nonstop adrenaline rush for years. And then we're not allowed to be disappointed. Because if you're disappointed, people call you entitled. People call you a baby. And that is absolutely idiotic. You can't have it both ways. You can't expect everyone to be on the hype bullet train nonstop, and then if it derails, for us to just walk away and be like, well, it was a nice ride. Meanwhile, their stock has made billions off advertising, and every games journalism outlet has talked nonstop about the game. Everyone already made their money, but the gamers themselves are left holding the bag, and we're the ones that get attacked when things don't go well, as if we don't have a right to have an opinion on things. So I want to look at what I would call a very bad take that Pat and Ian had, and maybe remind them what it's like to be a gamer.
People are unhappy, and there's a lot to unpack with it on both sides, I think. Immediately, people divided themselves into camps over, we're going to cry like babies, and the other camp quickly polarized into a very much, we feel the need to, we must defend this game. I found very little even ground here.
And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's hard to have a middle ground when you've been force-fed hype for years, when you've paid a lot of money to attend something like BlizzCon, or you paid $50 to watch it online, to watch commercials. And your immediate critique is that if people are disappointed or upset anybody who has chosen to voice that is a baby.
Over 31,000 supporters. And here's the comments. I'm not against having a mobile game too, but not instead of a PC game.
No,
We've been waiting for far too long for another Diablo 3 expansion, or better yet, Diablo 4. Another called it an absolute slap in the face of all the fans who stuck with Blizzard through the mess that was Diablo 3, hoping that they finally get a good Diablo game.
Diablo 3.
See, Ian, I'm not exactly sure what this is. If you're, are you like shaking a can of Pringles? I'm not sure what you meant by that, but could you see maybe, Pat, why people are reacting the way they are to your take on gamers? The way you read them just comes across, and maybe you don't, okay? But for me, it seems like you're reading these quotes with a lot of contempt. And maybe that's why people are kind of upset. You're making fun of somebody who was asked a question. So some news outlet asked a Diablo fan a question, they answered it, and then you're making fun of them in the way that you voice them. Now, maybe this is just, maybe you're not. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe I'm right.
I saw it's now gone like viral when the person in the audience said, "Is this a late April's Fool's joke?"
Oh, sit your fucking ass down.
Again, the way you're speaking to somebody who, by the way, paid money to attend to watch commercials, who paid probably hundreds of dollars a night to stay in a hotel, who probably paid hundreds of dollars to fly there, who has probably spent hundreds or thousands of dollars on Blizzard products. The way you voice that person with such contempt and you tell them that they must, quote, sit the F down. Why? Are customers not allowed to have criticism? Are customers, again, like I said, who are expected to emotionally react to these advertisings by pre-ordering and things like that, are they also not allowed to have the opposite reaction? Now, I'm not exactly sure why this seems to happen to old head video game YouTubers. Maybe you have friends that work at Blizzard. Maybe you knew this guy personally and you feel like you're defending a friend. I guess I could understand that. Or maybe you don't really like video games anymore. Maybe you don't like video gamers anymore.
And people are applauding in the audience. You're all fucking babies.
Yeah.
All of you who applauded. You're all babies. You're rude, first of all.
Yeah.
But you're all fucking babies.
And now we get to the part that is really difficult to try and remain level-headed about. But I'm going to try to not act like a baby. Why are they babies, Pat? Because they're disappointed? Are they not allowed? Are they just supposed to sit there and take it? That's what it sounds like you would expect of them. I don't understand. Have you never been disappointed ever in your life? Do you think that if you don't like a video game that you're not allowed to say anything about it? That you shouldn't even leave a negative review? You should just thank the video game gods that you even have something to buy. It sounds like that's what you're saying, and maybe that's what's going on with your channel right now. As you can see, this video has 359 upvotes and 2.5 thousand downvotes. And it would also appear that your channel is on its period. Something's going on here. And I wanted to go to your Twitter and say, oh, maybe he's like, you know what? I had a bad take. We're all entitled to a bad take. But no, just more doubling down. I think there were some babies in this situation. It's a video game at the end of the day. Sorry. Then you talk about video games for a living, dude. You don't get to have it both ways. If you think there wasn't a sense of entitlement from people who need to get a grip because their video game wasn't announced precisely how and when they wanted it to be, then we'll agree to disagree. Don't act like a brat if you don't want to be called out, consumer or not. I don't understand what is being a brat about voicing displeasure. Are we supposed to just keep our mouth shut, take what we get, let quality degrade, let them disrespect the customer base by moving their best developers over to mobile. Are we supposed to just do nothing? I don't understand why that makes anyone a baby. And I would like to know from you why you think that people aren't allowed to react.
Yeah, way to put someone on the spot who, like, probably... I mean, it's not like they made the final fucking call.
No. And they're not the ones who made the call for not announcing anything else. And you're putting it on them, making them feel fucking stupid for your little fucking little 5 minutes of internet fame in your fucking video. It's disgusting.
Well, Pat, what are customers supposed to do? They don't have industry insiders like maybe you do. They can't exactly pick up the phone and call somebody at Blizzard. They can tweet into a void, or they can let them know very loudly and in whatever way they see fit by booing or maybe asking questions that have some underlying displeasure in them. To minimize a customer who paid to be there asking a question in the Q&A panel as basically, well, he's only doing it for internet fame. You don't know what he was thinking when he went up there. You have no idea.
And they're the reason you're there, because they gave you these franchises for you to go to fucking BlizzCon.
Yeah.
What? You have that exactly backwards. Do you think BlizzCon would exist if Blizzard didn't sell any copies of their games? The reason Blizzard is the size it is because of the customers. The customers don't have anything to be thankful for. Blizzard is the one that should be thankful. How can you get that so wrong, Pat?
And now you're fucking, fuck you. Hey, yeah, you're not doing exactly what we want when we want. It's like, grow up.
It's so
grow
gross.
Just fucking grow up.
So gross.
You don't deserve as much as you think you do. I mean, that's most people in general.
You deserve less than you think you do.
You deserve. Thank you.
Why, Pat? Why are you guys attacking video gamers? I mean, first of all, they're not a monolith. There are different reactions. There are certainly people that were probably happy about Diablo Immortal on mobile. You lump them all together, which is bad enough, and then you call them babies and tell them to grow up, as if the marketing hype machine has no responsibility for people's reactions whatsoever. The idea that loyal customers are not owed anything is probably the reason maybe your YouTube channel's kind of flatlined, because you forgot your loyal subscribers. At the end of the day, whether it's video games, YouTube, or selling bread, when you start ignoring those that got you there, this is what happens every single time.
So yeah.
Not much else to say about this. Relax.
Shut up, kids.
Can we relax
Shut
a bit?
the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, children. Shut up.
I mean, and that's how you end your video. This is just a really bad take. I don't know if you hate gamers or you have too many friends in the industry, but maybe it's time to hang it up, or maybe it's time to stick to talking about stuff you know about or that you are still passionate about. Talk about retro again. Where are the episodes about, flea markets and all this kind of stuff? I don't understand why every old-timey YouTuber that I used to like seems to borrow a phrase, recline and decline. Sit there and just do their podcasts and pump them out and don't really care. They've lost their fervor. And I understand. I've abandoned channels with 100,000 subscribers. I used to play claw machines on YouTube. People's interests change. Maybe it's time, Pat and Ian, you consider moving on. Or you take a step back and you try to remember what it was like to be on that hype train. Because while Ian seems at least well-researched about Diablo, Pat really seems clueless on this issue. This take and your subsequent conversations on Twitter are pretty obvious that you dislike gamers, and maybe you should consider covering something else that actually makes you happy. Maybe you'll take this to heart, maybe you won't. Whatever. I hope you enjoyed watching it anyway. We'll talk to you again real soon.